Hello, welcome to Senior Perspectives. My name is Keiko, and this is with the Wrazel Cannabis Broadcasting Network. We're going to be here today highlighting the oldest nonprofit on cannabis in the United States. It's NORML, and that's National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws. But I'm here today with Orange County NORML founder Kandice Hawes and Deputy Director Jakki Hernandez. And right now we're going to just have a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with Senior Perspectives.
Medicus LP was created after their team discovered that very few avenues existed for investment in professionally managed public equity funds. As a result, they created a long-biased limited partnership, Medicus, for accredited individuals and organizations that will invest in public exchange-traded companies in the cannabis space. Investor net asset values are calculated on a monthly basis by their administrator, Klein Fund Services, and audited annually by Spicer Jeffries. This provides full transparency for investors. Their prime broker is BTIG and custodian is Pershing. Medicus started investing in January 2020. To learn more about Medicus, please visit their website at medicuslp.com. And for more information about their current investment opportunity, please visit the Wrazel investment marketplace at wrazel.com.
Hello, welcome back to Senior Perspectives. Again, my name is Keiko Beatie, and we are here with Wrazel Cannabis Broadcasting Network. I have with us today the most amazing nonprofit group here in Orange County regards to cannabis, and it is OC NORML. I'd like to introduce to you Kandice Hawes and Jakki Hernandez.
Hello. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. And Kandice actually founded OC NORML 17 years ago, and Jakki here is a deputy director, and she is a longtime, sad to say, cannabis patient. So having both of you here today sharing about NORML is just an honor, because these years of dedication, and I know we all have reasons why we are with NORML. I'm with NORML as well. And the purpose and the intention and the mindfulness of what NORML is to all of us is something that I'm just so honored to be a part of. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Kandice, you're here as a founder. How did this come about with NORML?
Yeah, thanks. So I grew up in Colorado and ran a lot of friends that drank alcohol, and I've just always preferred cannabis. That's always just been, a tool I use to help me with anxiety and stress and just to, recreate and to feel good when I want to relax. And I moved to California here to go to college, and unfortunately I got into a situation where I got a possession ticket, and it really affected me, the whole situation itself, how traumatizing it is, how overblown our drug laws are, and how they're willing to take away a person's freedom and their future for something like possessing cannabis or any other drug for that fact. For having just a small amount on me, I was thrown in jail. This was in Las Vegas with people that I usually wouldn't surround myself with. I had my car towed, and then the cops on top of that were just, really, really thought it was funny that I would also lose my financial aid. I was saying, I want to be an attorney down the road, give me a break, I won't be able to take, get a license if I have this on my record. And they're like, well, you're not even going to be able to go to school if you have a possession ticket. So I just felt like that's wrong. How many ways they punish somebody for having drugs on them, and they continue to punish them throughout their whole life. So,
and it wasn't like an exorbitant amount, wasn't it?
No, it's just a little bit over an ounce, and it just happened to be a law that was a zero tolerance back then in 2003. So they really threw the book at me. But it was just kind of crazy. It's like, I just come here, and I was a Mormon, so I was like pretty straight and pretty, naive, and to be thrown into that situation, I just felt like that was just really wrong. And so immediately when I got back to California, I did some research, and I found NORML. And luckily I reached out to them, and it happened to be right around the time of one of their annual conferences. And so they invited me to come down and to get trained. And it just really opened my eyes. I had kind of always been like the sole smoker in my little circle, but to see, this conference and this group where there was like doctors, lawyers, politicians, celebrities, like Woody Harrelson was there, I really kind of felt like I found my place, and like what I had been thinking and feeling my whole life was as being, validated. And there was these other influential people that felt the same way. So I went back to Orange County, and I put out a notice that I wanted to start a meeting, and I was really surprised. The first time we had over a dozen like very mature men who owned businesses and were doctors and lawyers and stuff show up for a meeting. And since then, 17 years since then, I mean, the numbers of people that want to get involved are only increasing, and we're continuing to do bigger and better things every year. So it really has been the momentum that's kept us going. And we've been able to do amazing things. Like, we held the first ever cannabis conference at the Anaheim Convention Center in probably 2010. And then in 2014, we saw a problem in Santa Ana where the city didn't want to regulate dispensaries, yet we still had over 100 that were just, you know, they were getting rated, opening back up, getting rated, opening back up. And so we actually formed a PAC, and Orange County NORML volunteers staffed this whole campaign, and we gathered over 20,000 signatures in Santa Ana. 13,000 of them were valid, and that was enough to qualify us for the ballot. And then the city put one up against ours. We campaigned for both because we just wanted some sort of regulation. And luckily, one of them did pass. They both passed, actually, 54% and 60%, which leads us to what we have now in Santa Ana, the only city that has retail sales due to all the work that Orange County NORML did.
And of course, this is a county that has a little over 3 million residents, and to only have at this time 25 dispensaries in operation, correct? Yeah.
In one city.
Thank you so much, for all your hard work.
Yeah.
And then you live here in Orange County, obviously, right? And so, Jakki, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, like you said, I am a cannabis patient. So I actually started, obviously, like everybody else that have been in this industry, you do tamper with a little bit of recreation before you get into the medical. I was a teenager, loved to kind of just smoke recreationally, enjoy myself with my friends. But then I started getting symptoms from this condition that I was born with called neurofibromatosis. And basically what that is tumors grow on and around my nervous system. They grow on my epidermis. I mean, if it's in the right light, you can see a whole bunch on my arm.
Yes, I see.
And everywhere where you see a bump, there's a kind of a spider web of nerves surrounding it. So I like to compare my sensation and my pain to if you've ever stubbed a toe, slammed your finger in a door, hit your funny bone, anything that gives you that nerve shoot of pain. That's what I have head to toe. And starting at 16 to around 26, I could get any pain medication you could imagine. My opiates were just getting more and more intensive. The doctors didn't question it when I kind of was growing numb to the relief, and they had to just increase it. So it was an ever-growing increase of opiates in my system. And one of my tumors that was on my abdomen was growing so large that I had to go into the hospital. While I was in the hospital, there was a lot of doctors that didn't want to perform surgery on me because of the fact that my tumors are connected to nerves. So if, for instance, the one that I had on my head, if they removed the base of the tumor, they could cut into all my cranial nerves. So that being said, it's very risky, and a lot of the doctors just didn't want to take that chance. So I was in the hospital for a good 3 weeks, and again, increasing the opiates and getting me on that morphine drip. They had me on a pain patch, they had me on pain pills, all at the same time. And when they released me with morphine pills, methadone pills, the hope that I had to actually still go and see a psychologist about my drug addiction to cannabis. In order for them to proceed with any other pain medication with the pain doctor, and a whole other slew of crazy instructions. So needless to say, I was out of the hospital, so doped up on stuff. Within the first 24 hours, I still couldn't even really go to the bathroom on my own because all my muscles were doped. So I was so relaxed, and my muscles were just not doing the job that they were supposed to do. I had to go to the emergency room. And as I'm in the emergency room, and this is all within, like I said, less than 24 hours of being released from the hospital, the doctor is going over my list of release notes, and he looked at me and he said, "You are being over-medicated. You're being given something that's for somebody twice your size." And I'm in tears because I'm just in pain, and I just want to sleep. And I said, "Well, what do you recommend?" And he says, "Well, it's up to you, but I recommend you just get off of everything. And if you want, take the methadone that will help with your cravings and the withdrawal." And I said, "Withdrawal? Like, what the F? Like, I've never even had a withdrawal from cannabis, and they're trying to make me go to this rehab before I go get more pain medication." So my head was spinning, and I got in the car, told my mom, told my husband, even if I'm crying and screaming, don't give me any pills. I don't even care. Methadone, morphine, don't give me anything. So that led into a very terrible, terrible withdrawal. I'm a DARE kid, after school special kid. So I grew up remembering all those messages that were in my head. And that's what I felt like. I felt like a drug addict. I felt like a heroin addict. I told my mom if there was a room with padded walls, I would have been bouncing off of them. Very uncomfortable feeling. Again, because I was already a recreational cannabis smoker, being in this situation, once I was able to actually stomach something, I was able to eat cannabis edibles. I already had learned how to make brownies and other medicated goods at the time. So I had a little surplus, and I would just put, maybe a little hit of weed, because I couldn't even really eat food. When you're withdrawing, I was sucking water out of a watermelon, because even a watermelon would come back up. So that just kind of goes to show that you can't just eat an edible.
Miserable. I'm
Terrible.
so sorry.
When I think of withdrawing from anything, now I empathize, and I'm just like, I know even a quarter of what that feels like.
So,
and it's
but
terrible.
during that time, then, were you infusing as well as trying to do edibles?
This is, this goes back to 2006.
Okay.
So not a lot of consistent medication is out during that time. Not a lot of accurate labeling.
No testing.
No testing. So, and even when I first got in, I remember one of my friends saying, Jakki, there's this medical cannabis card. How come you don't have it? And I was like, medical cannabis card? How come I don't have that? So I Googled it, and that's when I was like, okay. And I went and I found my doctor, and it was Dr. Jimenez or Jimenez, and Dr. Jimenez was awesome. He was actually in Laguna, and I remember him instructing me about all the different ways that I can be relieved with cannabis. So
Wonderful.
He taught me how to vaporize. He taught me how to find sources for my edibles. And then with that, he also gave me a list of nonprofits. So that's how I got introduced with NORML.
Wonderful.
And once I started getting into NORML, I started realizing there's a lot more people out there like me who need help with dosing and titrating and matching the cannabis with their symptoms. And I just kind of fell in love with the advocacy that Candice does, and that even you yourself, Keiko. The activism of NORML is something else, because it's not just helping with business, it's not just helping with patients, not just helping with veterans and seniors and families. I mean, it's an endless array of possibilities in a network that's just full of like-minded people.
Thank
and
you.
I love it
Yes.
here.
Both you ladies have such a great diverse background that's brought us all to this space. And the thing about NORML, it is a 50-year-old nonprofit. Tell me a little bit of what you know of how NORML first started nationally.
Yeah, so there's a gentleman named Keith Strope. He's still involved in National NORML, and he was fresh out of law school in 1970, and he was like, there's not really any cannabis advocacy group for cannabis consumers, or an advocacy group for cannabis consumers, I should say. And right around that time, the government was trying to dissuade people from using cannabis by spraying the fields with poison called paraquat. So that was one of the first campaigns that he took on. He wanted to stop the government from spraying these fields with poisons, because people were going to still smoke cannabis, whether the threat is going to jail or being poisoned. If people want to use it, they're going to use it no matter what, So that was the first thing that they organized to kind of fight against, and they were successful in that. It still continues to be the number one, I think, cannabis advocacy organizations for cannabis consumers. At one time, NORML was all that we had, so it handled hemp and medical and business and legal and recreational and everything. Now we have a lot of other groups that specialize, but still NORML has been around the longest, 50 years now here, and they've done amazing work. Almost every state has some sort of legislation that's been touched by NORML. It's a network of independent nonprofit organizations, so each local or state chapter is its own organization, but we all work under the NORML affiliate umbrella. And with this year being our 50th year, they're doing some changes, like we're rebranding, so all the chapters are going to have new logos and everything is going to kind of match. And we're really trying to reorganize and to respond to things that are kind of timely. One thing especially is responding to the new social justice movement. We've always been an organization that's tried to help, the underdogs and the minorities and those that are, not getting a fair treatment under the law. And so with, this huge movement now, NORML, is responding to this. And, we're going to put together a webinar here at our own Orange County NORML chapter, trying to make people become better aware of, what they may be inadvertently perpetrating or, keeping going.
Subconscious bias.
So, subconscious biases.
Yeah.
And just trying to educate people about the disparity in arrests and prosecutions. It's really crazy, that still, like, because minorities are 3 times, 4 times more likely. And I could say, I've had a couple times when I've been driving around and I've been caught red-handed in my car smoking cannabis, and police officers have let me go. That would not be the same situation for even a man, probably, or a minority. They would not get that same, let go. So I think that's, it's our responsibility then to use our privilege to help make fair for everybody.
One thing I want to say about the creation of NORML, I think it's a very interesting and charming aspect that it was Hugh Hefner who donated the first money, the seed money, to Keith to start NORML. And the reason why he did that, Hugh Hefner at that time was actually fighting censorship laws against his magazine. And he, of course, had done very well financially. And he saw that with cannabis and what Keith was trying to create there, that there was definitely prejudices against cannabis. So thank you so much, Playboy Magazine.
Yeah, people shouldn't be discriminated or treated differently because what they like to do as, a responsible adult behind closed doors, whether it's looking at a magazine or it's smoking cannabis or whatever it is like you like to do in your private time when you don't hurt anybody else, you should be able to do that.
So, you know what? Now with Orange County NORML, 17 years ago, at that time, where was Orange County with access to cannabis?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, 17 years ago in 2003, there was pretty much nothing. It was just, finding it from your friends. It wasn't until maybe like 2005 where we actually had doctors where you could get recommendations. And I remember I used to drive all the way to LA like every week or so, and there was just a couple places that you could buy it. And back then in 2003, 2005, the federal government, the DEA, was actually arresting patients. People growing. Nowadays, we'd be like, why would they waste their time doing that? It happened all the time.
The worst thing, because I remember during the Obama inauguration, I was traveling across country. And again, it's my medicine. So I had brought 4 pretty large-sized brownies. The very first state we get into, Arizona, we get pulled over. Cop muscles us, threatens us with his drug-smelling dog. And I remember what he ended up putting in the police report was something like 360 grams of cannabis. He basically ended up weighing out the brownies because back in the day when they were taking in edibles, they didn't know how to weigh that. So you get charged for the sugar, for the butter, for the chocolate. Yeah.
I remember
laws
somebody
are really strict and a lot of people.
Yeah, we've gone a long way.
I know somebody, they had theirs in a glass dish. They just weighed the whole dish and that was it. And so,
even glass and all.
Even plants, they would take it, the roots, the stem balls, all the dirt and stuff, and they'd weigh that, And
but doesn't that sound so archaic?
Oh, yeah.
But that's why NORML and organizations like this have to exist.
Yes.
Because even now with Prop 64, things are still not right.
No.
And there's still so much inequity and unfairness throughout. That's why we developed the Orange County Commercial Cannabis Licensing Task Force, and we're helping bring more equity to more licensing throughout Orange County. So there's not this monopoly going on like there is in Santa Ana, and we could provide more licenses, both just through retail and then all the way to testing. I mean, you name it, there's licenses you need it if you want to be able to provide a business in it in this city.
And 17 years ago, I never would have dreamed that we'd be in the position where we are now, where there's actually cities that are advocating for cannabis. Like you see some of the folks from the Fullerton city staff, like the police chiefs in favor. The economic development director is for it. And you see them leading community education sessions where you'd think they're one of our allies. They're very well educated and spoken, and they're all for this. And I mean, 17 years ago, that people would not take us seriously. They would not listen to us. They would not meet with us. The primary thing we did back then, like we talked about, was, really support people that were being punished, by going to their trials and having rallies and stuff like that when the DEA was raiding dispensaries or people's houses and stuff. So it was very reactionary. And now it's like a huge business, and it's,
when you talk about what you mentioned earlier about the disparities of minorities, there are over 200,000 people of color and Hispanics inside prisons who are for simple possession, mostly non-violent crimes of simple possession. And it's such a vast difference to the percentages of how many people of Caucasian who are
we
in
use
there.
in similar percentages. Like there's similar usage rates between all the different, races or whatever ethnicities.
And that's why
but-
people like Reverend Al Sharpton is part of the cannabis community, because he wants to see that change for the future. And I think with NORML, I know with Orange County NORML, we dedicate a lot of our time towards education, education of the awareness, education of the medicine, and that. And I think that is one thing I'm very proud to say that we do bring forward is that information for everyone.
We're a resource. Even with what we're doing with the task force, witnessing council meetings, we're able to see even the inequities and the disparages that happen within that. And there's a large community of passionate, outspoken people that come to these council meetings to talk against cannabis coming in their community. The thing is, they're misinformed. So although they're passionate and they're really good activists for speaking for a cause for their community, they don't have all the facts.
Yeah.
And the saddest part about this is we just realized a large percentage of them speak Spanish.
Yes.
And so with this, again, with us being a resource center, we saw that space and we said, that is wrong. How can we change it? How can we fix this? We immediately started looking at, even the Bureau of Cannabis Control, sadly, does not have easily accessible Spanish files. So even if these people wanted to go and access documents about what does Prop 64 mean, they wouldn't be able to even translate it in their native language.
So no wonder they're not,
wonder,
right.
in the they're not
when,
in favor
when,
of cannabis.
When we go to these council meetings and you hear them speaking, sometimes, I don't know if everybody is as clued in as we are, but it could take like 7 to 8 hours, these council meetings. So you have to be pretty passionate to sit there with something that's not even your native language.
And it does seem that people with English as a second language, they're very archaic in their opinion of it. They think it's still that kind of
Perception is
the
reality.
devil
The
league,
education.
right?
Yeah.
So we do need to have, I think with Orange County NORML, I would like us to definitely see us step forward and work on more bilingual
multi-language
education, yeah.
100%.
It's all about diversity,
Yeah.
inclusion,
Yes.
Making sure everyone has access to good cannabis education and fair
Very
treatment
important.
under
Fair.
the laws.
That was one of the first things I did starting as the deputy director, contacted National NORML, and I said, this is something we have to change.
Yes.
So not just because
Literature
Spanish
printed,
triggered
yes.
me, but this is for
Brochures.
everything.
Website translation.
And I think that's kind of where there's been this disconnect within our organization as a national chapter, is we know that these people have events. We go to many events throughout the country, and I've seen Spanish documents on the table. But for whatever reason, it doesn't end up in PDF format for us to be able to easily share throughout the organizations and all the chapters. So again, constantly improving, realizing like, whoa, wow, this whole racial inequity thing is a lot deeper than even just discrimination.
Yeah.
Now, I've lived in different areas, and I've tried to join NORMLs in other counties, and their organizations didn't seem to work at the level that Orange County NORML does. And I'm not just saying that because I'm part of Orange County NORML, by the way, but there is a vast difference there. I mean, I know each chapter is different, so what do you think it is about Orange County NORML that is considered, I think they consider that this chapter here in Orange County is one of the most successful, robust chapters here in California?
Well, I think two things. I think number one is consistency, and the second thing is probably the team. So we've been consistent for 17 years, and maybe that's just part of my OCD, but it's, we have a
It's
consistent
working.
meeting every single month, the third Tuesday of the month, and we've started other committees that have also met consistently. And so, a lot of people just know, that time of the month comes around, it's always, a time when you can, come to the NORML meeting, run into your friends, see what's going on, what's going on so you can get involved.
Yeah.
And I think that leads to the second thing, which is really our team, which is be like our leadership and all the people that support us. We've always been really good at staying out of the drama and just being inclusive and being friendly and being welcoming and being inviting and giving people an opportunity to come and get educated and supporting them as they grow in the industry and really giving people the ability to
platform,
shine,
opportunities. Yeah.
So it's amazing. I can't even tell you how many friendships have been gained through NORML. We've had people get married that met each other through NORML. And I mean, if I wouldn't have had this really bad thing happen in my life almost 20 years ago, none of this good stuff would have happened. So that's what I try to share too. Sometimes something might happen in your life and you feel like you're at the rock bottom and there's nothing left. And that's really a point where you can start off. And sometimes it puts you on the path to where you're meant to be.
Well, I would have to say you have inspired me. And that because of what sadly happened to you has created a movement of awareness that has supported the community and the industry here in Orange County. So overall, I've said this many times, do not piss this girl off because she can do a lot. And, and you as a patient, Jakki, I mean, for what you've been able to do, I think there was a wonderful article on you in the OC Register.
Yes.
That would really brought a lot of people to tears about all the difficulty that you had just to be able to get good medicine for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. I had a lot of friends and family friends read that article and text me going, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't really wear that face all the time, so I don't have to be.
It's always a lovely smile on your face.
That's what inspires me. She's one of the most happy, productive, outgoing people, and she deals with more pain than we've ever felt, on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I love being a part of this organization is I just have a different understanding of what it means to be like a chronic pain survivor and living with any type of chronic condition. You have good days, you have bad days, and most people that have chronic illness don't appear to be quote unquote, ill. So there's a lot of discrimination that can happen when you appear to be well.
Yeah.
And so I definitely come from a different understanding, and that's why I loved working in retail. I connect with patients. I was a manager of a store, and I would give my personal phone number out to patients, help them with titration, which is dosing, so you can take it in increments and be able to get relief throughout the day. I definitely still help people with creating their own concoctions, whether it's tinctures or topicals or edibles. I thoroughly love to educate the patient because it was hard to start from something where you were reading 5, 10, and 20x on bags.
It's a gift if you can help someone find relief and know how that feels.
Oh, it's
like you've given them the
so
biggest
wonderful.
gift.
Yeah, I really do love it. I like to play around with doses, and I always tell people this isn't a cure-all, but what this is if you have a kind of a level of extreme and it's here. And each time we play with your dose, we take you down a notch and down a notch and down a notch. Just any notch you can go lower is relief when you live with chronic pain.
And see, with cannabis, it is a personalized medicine because
100%.
each one of us could take the same exact dose. It's going to affect you differently. So you have to be open enough. If you're using it as a medicine, you consider yourself your own guinea pig.
Yep.
But the most important thing, and we've definitely stated this at OC NORML, go low and slow.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's a very important thing.
Founded by former NFL All-Pro Kyle Turley, NeuroXPF is a sports supplement company specializing in the medicinal benefits of cannabinoids. NeuroXPF makes and sells a full line of high-quality, certified organic, hemp-derived CBD products. All NeuroXPF products are THC-free. They use a special CO2 extracting process to isolate the CBD, working hard to preserve the terpenes in order to modulate the effects of their hemp-derived CBD. This adds that little extra punch to NeuroXPF products so they taste better and provide some beneficial qualities. To learn more about and purchase the NeuroXPF's products, please visit their website at neuroxpf.com. For more information about their current investment opportunity, please visit the Wrazel investment marketplace at wrazel.com.
You said you've worked at a dispensary outlet. Kandice, you've had jobs in the industry as well.
Yeah, I used to work as a consultant, so I've worked with many different dispensaries and brands, helping them set up community outreach projects and programs, giving back to the community through education and through donations and stuff. Currently, I work with Glass House Group, which owns Bud and Bloom in Orange County, and so I do outreach with their seniors there, and it's a wonderful home. They're very supportive of the work that we do at NORML, and it's amazing now that us cannabis consumers can find good paying jobs here in the industry.
Well, one thing I want to say about Bud and Bloom, Kandice, you're very responsible for your outreach to seniors. Tell us what you did about the bus.
Yeah, so we used to have a senior shuttle every year for 3 years. One of our founders, Aaron Hertzberg, set up that program a long time ago, and it was really successful. We've had over 300 seniors ride over the years. But due to COVID, when it first started hitting in March, it wasn't yet in the quarantine, but we decided to cancel the shuttle and just be proactive because our senior population is very dear to us. We want to make sure that, we keep them safe. So instead we switched now to a delivery. So we do daily delivery for them. And we also do webinars. So every other week on a Wednesday, we do a webinar on different things we're going to do one on anxiety and depression with Keiko. We have one on the endocannabinoid system, one on lupus, on making mocktails, and on cultivation, and all sorts of wonderful programming. And those are all free. And you can find them on the Bud and Bloom YouTube or on our Vimeo.
And then, Jakki, of course, you've worked at a dispensary. Have you done any other positions in the cannabis industry?
I have done a lot. Yes, I've worked in a cannabis bakery, so I worked in baking, packaging. Yeah, and I worked in cannabis journalism. I did work for a cannabis magazine. I also worked for many different dispensaries that were delivery in Prop 215 land. I've done consulting work on the side. I definitely am all encompassing. I have a little hand in each bowl.
See, and here's an interesting thing. Even though we all work in the industry, I think to me, I feel I'm more here as an activist.
Yes.
And
because we'll go do stuff without the paycheck.
Exactly.
If it needs to get done, we do it.
We don't need the money. No. We need the outreach. We need to know that we're actually connecting with patients and making a difference and making sure people have access for whatever they need
that
it
comes
for.
First.
And I know there's that talk about recreational or medical. I truly feel that most people, even though they say they're recreational, it really truly is for themselves medically, because the peace of mind, the mindfulness, the overall health and well-being from utilization of it is for that health and well-being. And that's one thing I think that always inspires us, knowing how people feel good. And I feel proud to always consider myself an activist and one that's going to be there for the patients, supporting them, getting their medicine, and just having a healthier, better life. So we've definitely talked about the beginning of NORML and the present day. What do you guys see for the future for OC NORML and for National NORML?
Well, that's interesting because it's always kind of hard to tell where the industry is going to go because, like I said, I never would have thought in a million years we would be here. But we definitely just grow with the industry and with the needs of cannabis consumers. So it's kind of hard to tell, but I do know that we continue every year to elevate and to become a more professional organization and to get, the roles, responsibilities, and tasks, more fine-tuned. So, I mean, I know that we're only going to become a better organization with more visibility in the community.
And Jakki?
I want to see OC NORML become large as we have fed this community. I want everybody to recognize and know who Orange County NORML is. I would like dispensaries and brands and business owners to know that they have an outlet that they can go to and reach that is going to educate the public that goes to shop for them. We are a resource center, so I want our activism to be able to be fueled with a little bit more donations so we can provide what we want with the outreach that we have for the Spanish community at these city council meetings, with creating the other chapter like the Orange County Commercial Cannabis Licensing Task Force, being able to make it so a regular person can get a license in this industry and you don't just have to have a lot of capital.
Yeah.
That's why we need more opportunities,
right.
And opportunities that provide for new players, not just the same group of dispensaries to just open up in every city. We want to see, different dispensaries. We want to see them, opened by medical professionals.
Yeah, I want people to realize that they have a true ally with us.
Yes.
Because we're not funded. We don't get bribes. Like we already said, activism from our free heart is just free. We just want things to be better for this community, for the people involved. We want to be able to spread resources and education to the people that are against us coming in. So we don't have to convince them, but more neutralize them. I'm all about just neutral. You don't have to be on my side, just don't be against me.
Yeah. And it's much easier.
And I think for myself, I have this goal in mind we need to have this deschedulized.
Yes.
And once it's deschedulized by the federal government, I think the whole industry and community can all move forward
Right.
so much easier. And I really feel that we can get this to happen in the next few years.
Let's do it. But we have to make sure people know, not Schedule 2.
Yes.
That's it. Because people hear deschedule and they're like, oh, any schedule less than. No, we
No.
don't want Schedule 2.
Because that would just put it in the hands of the pharmaceutical
Yes.
companies
Right.
and take it further actually
Yeah.
out of the hands of people, because then the pharmaceutical companies would more likely sue again, you know, and,
Oh,
and have
and
these medical companies
100%.
shut
What
down.
pharmaceutical company is going to say, smoke this dank herb?
It'd be a pretty hip pharmacy.
Right.
And another reason why I want to see it deschedulized is that I definitely look at it more of a global international outlook on it. And I see the industry and commerce developing worldwide at this time. And I think here
needed.
in the United States, California, Orange County, we're choking ourselves.
Jakki just got a contact from Malaysia
Yes.
that wants to start a
Yes.
NORML
Yes.
chapter.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, she was one
Exciting.
of 9 royal families, and she already started an NGO out there. And I cannot wait to connect that
Let's
with national.
Zoom with
we,
her.
Oh, we are. No, she is incredible. She did have to step out of Malaysia due to a lot of political drama. So she is in the States. She's actually in Las Vegas. So she's on our time zone too. So it's going to make us streaming with her that much more possible.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to help her spread awareness because she brought something to my attention in Malaysia. There's 2 doctors serving life sentences for providing to patients. One of
Oh.
which that I believe soon we'll see a documentary on Netflix about Dr. Ganja. So if you ever see or read an article about Dr. Ganja, she's closely linked to that situation in Malaysia, and her NGO is trying to work how NORML does with POWs here to get him out. And there's a lot of things that we're going to try and work together for petitions and stuff to make this possible.
Sounds fabulous. Sadly, I think we're getting close to being done here, but, go ahead and tell us your focus for the future then, not just for NORML, but for yourself in this industry too.
For myself in this industry, I guess it's just continue to provide education, but I want to work more on providing education to those that have never been a part of NORML, don't even know what NORML is. So I guess out to more just regular everyday citizens.
Mainstreaming it.
Yes.
And Jakki.
I love that. I want to convince Candice to start working with me as a consultant because we keep on doing so much on our own. It would be nice to finally team up.
Well, again, I thank you so much. I think here at Wrazel, I think they really like to support and embrace the mission of NORML and the mission of Orange County NORML, because I think it's the real heartfelt part of the community that is going to help the industry grow even more. So I want to thank you so much for your time, your dedication, and one city at a time here in Orange County, we're hopefully going to be able to break the barriers down and have so much more safe access for patients.
Oh, we will.
So thank you so much for your time. OC NORML, Kandice Hawes, Jakki Hernandez, and we will definitely be in touch in the future because these are my friends here. So this is Keiko Beatie with Senior Perspectives for Wrazel Cannabis Broadcasting Network. Please have a nice day and know that caring people are here in this community and industry to make sure people get their medicine. Thank you.